Welcome to another Aluvian Gaming game review. Today we traverse the tunnels in Metro 2033 Redux. Metro 2033 originally came out in 2010. Redux is a remaster released 4 years later. It was developed by 4A Games, the same people who made the original and the sequel, Metro Last Light. They not only upgraded the visuals by porting the game to the sequel's engine, but they also added features from Last Light and changed up the gameplay in some of the sections. I never played the non-Redux version, and since this is the superior one, I don't see any reason to. The Metro universe is based on a book series by Russian author Dmitry Glukovsky, and the game primarily takes place in the Metro tunnels under Moscow, in a world 20 years post-nuclear war, although occasionally you do spend some time on the surface. What you're seeing is the game's intro, uncut. It's gorgeous, hard to believe the game originally came out in 2010. The biggest thing that jumps out right away is how well designed not only the environments are, but also the direction and camera angles. It has a very cinematic feel to it and immediately pulls you in. And it needs to, as Metro 2033 is a very narrative-driven first-person shooter, and its linear gameplay and drab aesthetic would come off as uninteresting otherwise. You play as Artyom, a young survivor entrusted to seek help for his besieged station. Although the overarching story isn't overly complex, it is told well and isn't without its detours. Although not speaking during gameplay, Artyom provides narration during the loading screens and further details his thoughts on what's currently happening through notes that are scattered about the levels. The game has two modes, Survival and Spartan. Survival features limited resources, increased difficulty, and is described as the original survival horror experience, while Spartan is faster and more action-oriented. I played on Survival to be true to the original game, and I feel it's more of how it should be played, but having the option is a great feature, though for the most part, I didn't really have any issues with running out of supplies until very late in the game. Those supplies consist mainly of ammunition for the various guns, grenades, med supplies, filters for your gas mask, and military-grade bullets which are used as a form of currency. The guns themselves are just fantastic. Don't expect some top-of-the-line plasma slinger. Everything has a used, sometimes cobbled-together feel. I mean, there is the standard Kalashin revolver, but some weapons are pneumatic, requiring you to pump them up to maintain pressure in the tank. The pressure indicator is on a gauge on the model itself. There's even a revolving shotgun made from bicycle parts. But they didn't just stop there. The game also features a customization system where, for example, you can choose to add a long barrel and stock to a revolver to make a rifle, or put a suppressor on that automatic shotgun you found, for extra sneakiness. Along with this ability to modify weapons to suit your playstyle, through much of the game, you can actually approach your task your way as well. You can take out destructible light sources and sneak around, silently eliminating obstacles, avoid them altogether, or just go loud and take on all comers. There's plenty of tools at your disposal, regardless of playstyle. This is a game of small details that stand out. When you collect Artyom's notes, you audibly hear pen on paper. The gas mask is especially well implemented. If you take damage while wearing it, the screen can crack and impair vision, requiring you to find a replacement. If you shoot an enemy at extreme close range, you end up splashing blood on the visor. You can either wipe it off, or wait for it to run down on its own. They even included water and ice effects that actually interact with the lighting. Filters only work for a certain amount of time, and you have to manually switch to a new one once they're spent. Doing so is a fast but immersive reminder of the harsh realities of your surroundings. Something bog standard like the flashlight, an item very necessary while traversing the metro, is handled in a thoughtful way. As the battery starts to deplete, it will begin to dim. When it gets low, you actually have to pull out a hand charger and manually pump it back up. Even environments are full of these details. You may see a fire being used for light and warmth, but it's placed under a vent leading up, presumably to allow the smoke to go to the surface and not build up in the tunnels. Again, little details that really bring everything together. But no game is perfect, and Metro 2033 is no exception. Voices were sometimes hard to hear or decipher, and there were no audio options besides master and music volume. Minor things like occasional typos in Artyom's notes or a vendor shouting that he sold filters when he actually did not. The melee attack was hardly functional and practically useless due to its pathetic range and pitiful damage. It also had no effect on objects you might think would be breakable, at least not until one of the last levels where it's actually required to break down barriers. It's just odd that they chose to wait so long to actually make it useful, and then after that point, it was then easily forgotten again. But my biggest issue was the rail shooter level. You find yourself stuck in a turret mounted to a rail car, forced to shoot enemies as the vehicle moves, completely out of your control. The car stops several times and you're to defend yourself against waves of enemies, before they blow the car up and you with it. This would all be fine, even if it does have little in common with the previously established gameplay, if you weren't forced to do the entire section with your night vision goggles on. The goggles, as you'd expect, get extremely bright when near light sources, and unavoidably, there ends up being giant fires between you and the enemies you're tasked with eliminating. So all that to say, you're essentially blind, shooting at targets you cannot see, due to goggles you cannot remove, stuck in a car you cannot control. After much frustration, many deaths, and just dumb luck, I was finally able to make it past it, but I definitely don't want to try the level again. Ultimately, Metro 2033 Redux is a game of details that accumulate into something pretty great. It succeeded in telling a gritty story, but also set the stage for more stories to come. It's got a few problems, but most are pretty minor. It's interesting, it's immersive, and overall just well done. I give Metro 2033 Redux an 8 out of 10. Aside from the one level, I had a good time, and I'm genuinely excited to get started on Metro Last Light. Look for a review on that in the coming weeks. But until then, keep your filter fresh.